All right, sick. Everybody, welcome once again to another installation of BFM Breakdown. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember what we were talking about last time. Probably something to do with geometry and how you can manipulate it. So today, I figured would be a perfect opportunity to go over some ways to visually identify cues to do that, right? The fights that we're about to show, there's a lot of offset involved. There's a lot of aligning circles, and all of it is based off of the cues that we see in the fight. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. Right, so we go into the merge. We're fairly fast, right? Very first thing we do in the first turn, right? We pause it. Let's zoom that bad boy in, and let's take a look at this right here, right? So just from that first turn, what can we kind of deduce from this first turn, right? Like this one's also got the nice little diagrams on it. Back when I put a bunch of effort into making this video specifically, but what's some stuff that you can deduce just by looking at this aircraft? Right, we're in the Typhoon. You see a nice big wide silhouette, a little bit of the nose, just a little bit, right? Merged at the same time. We're assuming the same speed. What can you deduce from this? Like this is the very first cue you should be keying in on your first turn. Anybody?
He's slightly faster.
Well, I mean, we're assuming well, I mean, maybe he is, he isn't. But you know,
the reference
I'm
point where
more
you're
so
sitting
concerned.
at,
Like,
right,
what do we see based off
slightly
of
ahead
this?
of you.
Well, he could be slightly ahead. Nose, yeah. Oh, I mean, when I'm looking at this, right, like, yeah, I see a little bit of the nose, but for the most part, I see a really wide silhouette, right? And I got a ton of energy here. Like there was no lead turn or anything, right? My nose is coming up over the top, his nose is coming up over the top. I'm saying that we're pretty neutral right here, right? Like maybe I'm slightly winning, maybe they're slightly winning, but for the most part, fairly neutral. You know, we're both coming up right now. We're in a one circle, but we got all of this energy, right? So, with all this stuff in mind, you know, we know that we're nose to nose. We're going to assume fairly similar energy states, you know, and we're looking pretty neutral. What are some things, you know, that you'd think of doing just right after this, right? With all these variables, right? We're high aspect, we're high closure, we're about to go to low range, or at least it looks like we're about to go to low range, right? Like what's some stuff we could do here, or what's some choices we can make? Falcon, you go.
Get behind him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's all the way across the circle. How are you just gonna get behind him?
Gonna. Well, looks
You
like
got
one.
flaps? You got flaps and brakes?
I mean, you got brakes, but this is a Typhoon. There's no flaps on the Typhoon.
Well, if we're wanting to go one circle, then we.
Okay. Yeah,
You think
what
it's
about
gonna
you,
put
detective?
into the circle?
I don't know, man.
Here, I'll set this up right. So we're kind of we're looking something like this right now, right? Maybe we're a little bit lower than our guy, but we're looking a little something like this for the most part. And you got to think this is a zoomed in picture, right? So like there's a lot of space between us, a lot of turning room between both of these jets.
Cut your speed down, hit the brakes.
I mean, I'm not going to hit
Holy
the brakes,
shit,
right?
dude.
You don't want to waste energy. We're already going vertical, right? So this was my thought process when I'm seeing this, right? When I'm looking at this, it's like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set my lift vector, you know, just above, right? Because like down here is towards the water. This is towards the sky, right? I'm going to set my lift vector to point upwards, to point up here, right? I've got all this energy, right? I'm at 430 knots. Like, you know, I'm above the high end of rate band right now. Like, top of rate band in this thing is like 420, and we're at the top of our first turn, you know? So this is my thought process. Like, okay, I'm going to put my lift vector into pure, but I'm going to keep it, you know, right here on this side and pointing upwards, right? I'm constantly going to be pulling into him. But if he decides to commit to me, it's like, okay, cool. I now have the position and energy to pull in and meet his nose, at least stay neutral. Or if he pulls away, I can shift it into lag pursuit and go for the rate. I see you putting. I'm guessing that's you putting a hand up.
Yes.
What? All right. What's up? What's up?
Do you want a serious answer or a joke answer?
Give us a serious answer.
All right, first turn, extra speed. I would either set up a second merge. If I'm playing safe, if I'm playing risky, I would try to beat him nose on. Lead for nose, setup for lag for setup for the second turn. Those are the two answers.
Yeah. No. So that's kind of at least what I was going for with, lift vector placement going up, but also staying on the inside of it, right? It's like I can meet his nose, but I can also set myself up for the rate. So let's take a look at what happens, as soon as we do that, right? So we're looking at our guy. He's all the way across the circle. Lift vector's above him, and he bails, right? So right in that moment, I'm going to go back and play this again, right? We're going to come back to here. Watch what he does. See, he's got his lift vector on us right now, and he takes it off. Cool. We're going to follow him vertical, lift vectors into lag pursuit. We're going to push for the rate, go into another vertical, right? We can get some instantaneous going right here, but we're going towards his high 6 right now. We had all that energy, and he just turned away from us ever so slightly. And so, like right here, boom, second cue. This is our second turn. Here, let's go back. Let's go back here for a second. Oh, work with me here. Come on. There we go. Right, so all the way up to that point, we were in lag pursuit until we start coming down, right? This is where we can start bleeding in some instantaneous. We have gravity helping us out. So now we're shifting into lead. We're going to try to get a little bit more angles. But you notice how we're still nice and fast, like 381. That's right around your sustained speed. You want to keep it in, these typhoons whenever you're fighting. But we're staying in lead because we just went over the guy, right? They went down, we went up. We're at an energy advantage. And now we're here, right? At this point where we're crossing them, and I don't think I really need to set up the planes for this one. Like, we were so close that I'd like to think that you can see what's going on here. So just like in our first turn, just take a look at everything that's on the screen right now. Look at our lift vector position. Look at, our speed, and also look at our bandit, right? Like when we're looking at this image, what are we thinking now? Like, what are we seeing? What's the situation that we're in? Falcon, you go ahead, go first again.
I look offset.
I'd agree. Yeah, no, pretty heavy offset.
So
Jen, oh, no, go ahead if you had another thing.
So we gonna try to align circles?
I mean, we don't know if we want to do that yet. We don't know if we want to do that yet. Are we winning right now?
No. Or kind of.
No?
Kind of.
I would say
Okay.
yes.
Okay, okay. What makes you say yes, Jen? What makes you say yes that we are winning the fight?
Well, I mean, he's going at a high rate of speed, right? So if you come behind him, maybe at reduced speed, and then hit your brakes and stuff, you can get right behind him and then go for the kill with a gunshot.
So, I mean, we could, right? Like, the Typhoon has the performance for that, right? But that's us, like, banking on a one-turn shot, right? There's no follow-on. Right now, like, we were both up high, and we both start coming down low, right? Like, I'm pretty fast, right? I'm at 393 knots. We're at the top end of rate band, or at least near the top, right? So I don't just want to wipe all that speed, especially since we still have some altitude to work with. Like, right now, we're at 3,800 feet. Granted, that's not a lot, especially when you're in a jet. You can use and lose that altitude very, very quickly. But we still have turning room between where we're at and the deck, right? So we don't just want to throw everything into one basket, right? We don't want to do that. All right, sorry. What's up? You've been throwing that out.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna mention that. All of that. Yeah.
All right, yeah, but when I'm looking at this, though, this is how I can tell that we're winning, right? One, look at how far forward in our canopy this guy is, right? He's sitting, like if he was at lower aspect, we'd be in the control zone right now, right? Like, this guy would be totally screwed, But just like the diagram right here, right? Like, I'm seeing the top, I'm seeing a little bit of nose, but I'm still mostly seeing the top. So that tells me, okay, if these circles were aligned, like, this guy is still pretty far ahead of me, like, but we're winning in the circle. We're just slightly. We're about to cross over him, right? Like, here's his flight path, and because of our nose, we could tell. Oh, there's ours. Like, we're somewhere right about here, right where these arrows are. But because my nose is pointing at him, his isn't really pointing at me. I'm already telling, like, I'm winning, right? It's a slight winning cue. He's all the way across this circle, right? If we were to align these, he would be all the way over here, right, on this side of the circle, right? So yeah, we could try to bleed in, but it's risky. So it's like, all right, we've established we're up high. We still got some energy potential to work with. We've got plenty of airspeed to work with, right? And our bandit's nose is already pointing down, right? And if you want to maneuver in relation with him, where are you going to go, right? If he's going down, you want to maneuver with him. Where are you also going to go, detective? His nose is pointing down. Where I'm going to go down, right? All right, Woman Slayer, what's up?
The ideal move after this would be maintain speed, use that 38,000 feet, like on the deck transition, and then not only like gain energy on the way down, but also offset your cycle so that you can yank on the other side and then take a shot on.
Okay, no, fair enough. This is what I was thinking in this moment, right? So again, like we've established, we're winning just slightly, right? He's still pretty far across the circle, but we're winning right now. I'm at the high end of rate band, and we're both about to go down. So this is what I decided to do. I decided, hey, as soon as he starts crossing my line of sight, right, when he goes from here down to here rapidly, I'm going to start bleeding, and I'm not going to bleed in all of my airspeed, right? Just a little bit, like down to what I like to do sustained, or maybe just below, right? Because we're also about to go down. We'll cash in. We'll try to align our circle and use instantaneous to get a little bit further around on here, right? But also because we're going to bleed right here, we're going to be doing what? We're going to take the center of our circle and move it this way, right? We're going to align our circles. As soon as you see something like this, it's like, okay, cool. We're still a pretty high aspect. We're very close to each other. Our circles are misaligned. If I'm going to align them, I either need to start bleeding at this point, right, where we're at, or somewhere over here, like down here, I need to start extending, right? But at the same time, you need to time it correctly, because if you just start extending all willy-nilly at the wrong time, then it's like, okay, cool, I just gave this guy free turning room, and you don't want to do that, right? So let's see what happens. So we come in, we're like, okay, cool, we're winning. Bleed down, you see the speed going down just a little bit. We're using gravity, we're going to start maintaining, and we're pulling in to align our circles, right? You can still see a little bit of the canopy, right, as we come down to the deck. And you notice how in our line of sight, right? I'm going to come back just so you can see that one more time. You can see in our line of sight, that guy stays for the most part stable in our field of vision, right? He doesn't really move, right? He moves back a little bit. We pull in. We still got plenty of speed because, we just used gravity to come down to the deck. And now we're pulling into our sustained rate speed. We've run out of altitude and we're in the rate. Now there's our canopy. This guy, he's still out front, right? Like if I'm seeing my canopy, I'm still seeing a lot of, the back of his plane. So it's like, okay, he's still across the circle. But with as soon as he starts moving towards the canopy, it's like, okay, cool, I'm about to cross where his circle lines up with mine. As soon as he starts coming back, okay, that's where I'm crossing away again and reading our offset. Right here is a pretty good example of very heavily offset circles until we get to this point. Right, we've been on the deck for a while. Yeah, no, like we've been on the deck for a while. We've been holding our rate speed. We've established, okay, we've got a pretty heavy offset. We've been seeing this guy, go forward, back, forward and back in our canopy bow for the majority of this fight. But now at this point, this is where I recognize, I'm like, oh shit! Like if you look at this, right? So this guy, I'll set this up, right? These are the cues I'm seeing, right? This guy, he's over here. And we're like over here, right? Just like before, when you're looking at this plane, this is his orientation. Imagine you're in this cockpit, right? And you're looking at this guy. What are you mostly seeing on his plane, right? Like what parts of his plane are you seeing, Falcon?
The top of his plane. I don't know.
The top? I mean, yeah, you see a little bit of the top. It's still a pretty wide silhouette. What about you, Jen?
Well, I mean, you see the back end of his plane, you're gonna wrap around and
say it again. What are you seeing?
Oh, the back of his plane. The
back.
tail.
Yeah, exactly. You're starting to see more and more of the tail. You see that silhouette getting thinner and thinner, and you're starting to see more of the tail, right? Yes, in the back.
Yes, I was gonna say exactly that. Continue.
All right, yeah, no, cool. So we see that the silhouette of our opposing aircraft, it's getting thin, but now I'm seeing more and more of that afterburner, right? What can we deduce from that, detective? What does that tell you when you're looking at this plane? What kind of position are you in?
You're more of in I guess, attacking position. Like you're eventually going to be able to turn towards you're going to get your nose on him sooner than
Okay, attacking position. Okay, what's another word for that? Minion. What's another way of saying that? What are we in relation to
you're.
this guy?
Wait. Oh,
Something aspect rear.
Oh, I mean,
I
okay,
forgot.
yeah, we're rear aspect, but what else?
Is it
Shido, what about
lag?
you?
I
That's
asked
pursuit
that.
curve. What's our position, not our aspect, right? We are
No.
getting to lower and lower aspect, but what does that tell you, right?
I really can't remember the words
All
for
right,
it.
here, look. If I'm behind a guy, right? If I'm seeing his tail and I'm behind him, we are
Offensive.
offensive. Yes, there you go. You're right.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
offensive. All right, and if you're offensive, what does that mean? Are you winning or are you losing the fight?
You're winning.
Winning.
You're winning.
Oh, gee, I
exactly.
wonder, guys.
This right here, right? Like that's like very first, like very first prominent winning cue, right? Like at the very beginning of the fight, in that first, in like that second turn, when this guy was out here, and we were right here. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're winning, but I'm still seeing some, neutral-ish cues, right? Like their silhouette is still pretty wide, so I got a bit of the circle to come around. But now when we're seeing that silhouette get thin and we're seeing more of the back, we're winning the fight, right? So as soon as we deduce that, it's like, okay, cool. We've recognized offset. We've recognized that we're winning the fight, and then we're taking note of our energy state. And right there, that's amazing energy state. All right, like damn near like perfect sustained rate, I would argue, and that plus or minus 1 or 2 knots. But like he's on the deck, we're in the rate, we're winning, and we got a pretty heavy offset. So let's run it, right? Let's keep going. Right, this is where we want to be. It's now on that guy, to do something to make us mess up. So like right here, you see he's getting closer to the canopy bow. So we're about to cross his plane of motion right there. We just crossed it. You can see those little mist of water getting pushed up. That's a good indicator of where he's been. You see him go back, and it's like, okay, cool, we're getting back to this point. And now he's getting closer and closer. We can work this offset now. Right there at that point where he starts moving forward on our canopy, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe I can bleed 5 or 10 knots to exaggerate it across my turns, right? But most important thing, we're not going below our sustained rate speed. Right? So that way, if we need to bail out, we're at a good speed. And now you can see him sitting right above our canopy bow. Right? Hold on. I'm going to try to pause it right there at that point. Right? So right about there. Our guy is sitting right there. Right? And he sat there for about a second or two. And all the way through the turn, we bleed in. He stays right there. We got plenty of speed. Look at how far behind we are in relation to that guy. Like on that turn. Like at that point you saw nothing but afterburners, right? Slim profile, afterburners. Like we're behind the guy. If the circles were aligned, we'd be right up his butt, Either the assessment window or we'd be in the control zone. Make sense? Right. So now the question is, but when do you kill him? Right? Because if you just yank in, you create range, aspect, and closure problems, right? We still have this offset. He could reverse that turn. Yeah, that's why you got to wait. You got to time it. But because that guy's defensive, it's on him to do it, right? He's got to force us to try to fuck up, which in this case, they try to, right? They've recognized it. They're going to try to redefine the fight, but it's far too late. We're so far ahead in the circle, right? As soon as they go to redefine that fight, it's like, oh, okay, cool. They have now created a whole bunch of range between me and them. We're already heavily offset, and they did it right where we were coming nose on or getting our nose to bear in the, as far as our alignment goes. So it's like, okay, cool. They just bled a whole bunch of speed. We were sitting at like 390 knots. It mind you, in these planes, rate bands like 320 to 410. So it's a really, really wide rate band to work through. It's like, okay, they're slow. They're out front. We got a ton of range. Even though that's medium to high, like I'd say medium aspect and closure's high, there's so much range between us. That's a very low risk shot. Go for it. Bada bing, bada bam, bada boom. Make sense?
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. All right. Continuing on. Right now, we're gonna look at a example of the opposite. Right. So this fight, unlike the last one, right, we get into some losing cues. Right. Let's see how we can establish those right into the merge. A little bit slower on this merge, you're going to notice, right? We pull in, very first thing we're looking at, right? What's something different that you notice between this fight and the last one that we just looked at? Right, you remember that first turn where it was fairly neutral and everything? We saw a nice wide silhouette. What do you see differently on this one?
Eight.
Falcon. Just name one thing.
Lot closer.
Yeah, it's a lot closer. Bigger image. Jen?
Well, it looks like he's closing the distance between the aircraft there. Maybe using.
Oh, okay. Now, remember,
use-
this is a zoomed in image. This is a zoomed in image. This is
Oh,
not
okay.
like how close he is, right? I'm saying, what parts of the aircraft do you see more prominently right now?
Well, the front end.
Okay, yeah, the front end. Exactly. So if I'm seeing more of that front end, right, and we're already slow, like what's something we can do about it? Right? Like you see we're a lot slower than last time. This guy's nose is pulling in, we're looking like this right now. Yeah, Woman Slayer.
I would try to beat him nose on.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Like we're both high, we're both pulling in. Let's try to beat him nose on.
Yep.
So let's see
and
what
he's
happens here.
going down too, so cut him off.
Well, his lift vector's down. We're both coming over the top of our circles here. So yeah, right here we're gonna yank in, and now look at this. It's like, oh shit, my nose is on him, but his nose is on me, right? What are like as soon as we see this super thin profile, nose to nose, what are some things we can gather from this? Minion, we'll start with you this time. So if we're nose to nose like this, what's the first thing that you know? Remember, you're nose to nose, so you are what to each other?
High? No. Fuck. I forgot.
High. You said half of it.
Aspect. Yeah,
High aspect. Yeah, high aspect.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at high aspect, right? Shido, if we're at high aspect, what else is going to be high?
You ask it like that. Now I lost my train of thought. You're both
Alright,
high
think about
aspect.
it.
You're both gonna fire at each other and just pass by at insane speed.
Okay,
Yeah, try to
not
avoid
exactly
collision.
I mean, not exactly what we're looking for. Yeah, you want to avoid colliding, but no, if you're high aspect, you are also high what? What Woman Slayer? There, I'll call on you.
Closure.
Closure, yeah, right. So like, there's and like we're already at a short amount of range, right? But if we're nose to nose and we're heading to each other, we're gonna close that distance pretty fast, right?
Playing
So when I'm
chicken.
looking at this, right, we were both just, we were both pulling into each other, lift vector pointing in the same direction. What do you think we should do to avoid either A, getting shot, or B, colliding with the other guy? Optics. I saw you throwing out that.
I think that was on the last one he was trying to answer.
Oh, okay.
It's timing. It's okay. It's okay. He's welcome to answer this
Falcon,
one too.
Falcon. Keep in mind, right, this is what we're looking like right now, right? We both just pulled in like this, right? If you were watching the video, it kind of hinted as to what's about to happen, right? So we're both pulling in like this. We're about to go nose to nose. What can we do to avoid getting shot, right? He's got to pull lead to shoot us, so he's pulling this way. What can we do
pull up and hit your flares.
Jink. I don't know.
Yeah, we can jink in the opposite direction, right? That's exactly what happens too. We snap it over, right? We roll it over, and we pull in the opposite direction, right? So let's see what happens. Quick snapshot, we pull away, right? Immediately going up, establishing where they're going, and maneuvering in relation with our opponent. But now we're looking at this, right? This could be a pretty intimidating image right here. Right? Again, high aspect, right? We're looking at
You can
this.
get
I'm gonna try
both
to
of
set this up. I'm gonna try to set this up like this, right? This guy, he's right here, and we're already right here, right? Take a look at where our pipper's at, right? Like we've already pulled enough lead, for our pipper to be sitting more or less where that guy is. So what does that tell you? Even though we're high aspect, we are. I thought you were about to raise your hand there, Falcon. I got excited. All right, yeah, Reaper. What is it? What can you deduce?
It seems like he has nose on before us, and we are fucked.
Yeah, I'd say so. So what are we gonna do about it? Once again, we're at high aspect. That guy looks like he's about to shoot us. What are we gonna do about it? Right, he's coming. You got to think about this stuff, Detective. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about that guy?
Are you going to jank again?
Exactly. I'm gonna jink again. I've got plenty of altitude to work with. We're a little slow, but we're not down for the count. So the same thing I did again. You see his left vector pointing this way. I'm gonna snap into the opposite direction. Right? He's pulling lead that way, so we're gonna get out of there. Right? We're yanking in, and because like this guy, right, was committed to that, right? We started. Oh wait, shit! I went back into the last fight.
Whoops.
Oh yeah, okay, hold on. Where is it?
Oh,
There
that
we go.
would have
We'll-
been a good
We'll get there.
gunshot.
Nah, it's okay. We're getting back to it. We're getting back to it. Okay. Yep. Right here. Right. Or no, it's the next turn.
Right, just
Yeah. Next one.
let it play through.
So like right here is the point where we recognize that guy's gonna get his nose on, and we pre-turn him. Right. When we're already slow, and we're yanking. Right. We're yanking into this guy. We've now closed down enough range, right, and enough closure to where because we yanked in, we're using gravity to help us out. Now who has nose on first? You see, this guy's nose is still dipping down just a little bit, right? This is why you really need to pay attention to these cues. Our nose is already up and pointing at him. He needs to pull lead to shoot at us, but his nose is pointing underneath ours. So, with that information in mind, what can you deduce now? Right? Just in those 3 turns, a lot of stuff happened, and it completely changed the fight, right? Or changed the positioning in the fight. What do you think, Falcon? What do you think?
I think we're gonna be offensive this time first.
Yeah, like we're slightly offensive. His profile's still pretty slim, so we could argue it's still fairly neutral. But now we're beating his nose. Now we have started winning that fight. So what do we do from here? Right? What do we do from here, Detective?
Do
Give 'em
we?
guns.
Yeah, no, Jen pretty much said it, right? If I can shoot at this guy, one of two things gonna happen. One, I could kill him. That's the optimal outcome. It's unlikely, but it's more optimal, right? Or you force him to defend, right? The more time this guy spends defending away from us because he doesn't want to get shot, that's time with his lift vector off, and that's turning room that you can use against him, right? Anytime me and energy practice all the time, I always tell him, hey man, over like a couple of turns, it's just compounding lift vector placement that's fucking you up because like you'll give me an inch here, an inch here, an inch here, and then it becomes a foot on the 4th turn, right? Because now, like I was able to work with what you gave me, those very, very small parameters. So, yeah, let's try to force him defensive. Like, look, he's sitting right on the pipper. There's our tracers. Even if you don't think you're going to kill him, take the snapshot. It might scare him. It's going to make him fuck up. A lot of people mistake that they're like, oh man, I'm fighting this one plane, right? And it's really good at doing this. But you never take into account that you're also fighting the person who's flying the plane. If you can psych them out and stop them from performing optimally, then congratulate. It doesn't matter what plane they're in, you'd beat them, you know? Like example, somebody comes out in like a cracked out F-22 or something, and another guy comes out in a Spitfire, and that Spitfire just sits inside of that dude's circle, and this guy's in his mind. He's like, oh, I gotta get my nose on. He doesn't just go out into the raid or climb away. Like that Spitfire's just gonna laugh at him because he's able to float there, you know. And it's not because that F-22 can't outperform the Spitfire. It's because that dude's not performing his plane to its optimal parameters. You're fighting two fights, one against the other aircraft and also the guy flying it. Right? If you force that other dude to defend, that's time he's turning away from you, and that's time that you can use to get offensive. And that's especially important in fights like this, in powerful jets where split-second decisions have ginormous outcomes. Make sense? All right, cool. So let's see what happens here. We take our quick snapshot at our guy, and we don't kill him, right? Now we're following on. But uh-oh. All right, cool. He extended out into the rate. We just had nose on, but how did we get nose on again? What did we do to get nose on in that last turn? Optics. What did we do to get nose on to beat that other guy's nose in the last turn, just before this one?
Pulled into his circle and used a lot of energy.
Yeah, exactly. We bled almost all of our energy trying to get him, right? Like we were thinking, oh man, like we're up high, we're gonna bleed in. We can use gravity to help us out, right? And we'll just use gravity on the next turn. And we are using gravity in the next turn, but because we bled more speed to get our nose on in the last turn, and this guy didn't, he just flew underneath us, right? And is now ditching out into the rate and doing the same thing we are. That guy's probably faster than us, right? Like pretty reasonable deduction that he's starting out more optimally. Look at what we're at. 234 knots. We're about 150 knots slower than we want to be, At least in this plane. Now, if you look up here, right, it's still fairly thin. We just did a high aspect pass, so even though it looks like we're winning, it's not going to last long because we just don't have the speed. So at this point, we need to make a choice. What are we going to do? Right? What are some things we can do? We're nose down. We're trying to get some speed back. Okay, yeah, Woman Slayer, what would you do in this situation?
Unload and watch the offset and do on the direct transition.
Okay, no, I would agree. Offload, get some speed back, right? But here's the thing: if all we do is offload, right, we're almost flying straight. While this guy's already in a turn. If you offload too much, you give up position. So it's like, how much do you offload, right? Well, what's that? What's that word or term for range of speeds where you rate not necessarily optimally, but pretty close to optimal? Shido, what is it?
At the rate band?
Rate band, exactly. So you know what I'm thinking in this is like, okay, listen, I'm not going to get to optimal rate before this guy, and we're already in the rate fight. So rather than try to just offload, give up a whole bunch of angles to this guy trying to get my speed, I'm just going to get within rate, at least within rate band, and we're going to work from there, right? So we come down, see this guy pulling in, we're gaining back some speed. We're not getting back a whole lot, right? We're still turning with him, and we're establishing our line of sight. Now, I don't know if you guys, if you caught it here, on this next one. It's a little hard to see. I'll try to... Ooh, man. All right, there we go. We're not even a half a turn into the rate, right? We just hit the deck. We got back 300, like we're on the low end of rate band, but look at where this guy is. He's all the way over here, right? When we did that first pass, he was up here, as we were coming down, and now he's all the way across the circle, right? We see a big wide silhouette and a little bit of nose. What does that tell you? Right? This is barely even into the first half of the first turn. Minion, what do you think? What do you think's going on here? Right? When we look at this image.
I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm I'm just thinking he's going really fast. So
Okay, no,
yeah.
that's a fair deduction. He's going fast, right? We established in the turn before that he's at a way better energy state than we're at because well, we spent ours, right? And now he's all the way across the circle. We see the top of his plane and we see a little bit of the nose. So yeah, he's really fast. We're on the deck. We're at the low end of rate band. Detective, what do you think?
I'd say we're a little bit tighter than he is. I think, because
No.
I don't know. I could see a pretty even amount of his. I don't see too much nose nor too much rear. It's hard for me to tell. So maybe we're kind of even, but he's a little bit faster.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Jen, what about you? What do you make of this? All everything we just talked about. What do you
Yeah, I
think?
mean, if it was me, I would go straight up right there. I would go straight up and come down from above on him. I wouldn't do it like on the water right there. Like you guys are they're eye level right now. I would just go straight up and then hit the brakes and come back down and go from above and shoot him.
I mean, you could do that. You could, but if he just follows our high six, well, now we're slow, but now we're slow and high.
Well,
You know what
he's
I mean?
gonna lose. He's gonna lose. Like if I went straight up, he's gonna lose that horizontal view there. So he's
I mean,
gonna
yeah,
miss my
maybe,
aircraft.
maybe,
Yeah.
but still, if he just goes to our high six, he can just follow us. We've established that he's
Yeah, but
faster
it
than
looks
us.
like he's still going horizontal though. He's still on
Yeah,
that path.
so are
though.
we. So are we. We spent all
So-
of our energy to get down to the deck. Woman Slayer, you're over there throwing your hand around. Like, what do you deduce?
A deck transition, he has like 20, 30 knots on you, plus there's a heavy offset, so ideal strategy here is, I mean, ideal strategy for him would be to get on rate band first, then yank the offset for shot on head on. Like, that would be for him. That's what he's gonna do, so I gotta anticipate that.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay. So this is what I deduced from it, right? So
I
when I
settled
was
up a
looking at
little
him,
bit.
when I was looking at my opponent, like I saw a little bit of his nose. I know that they hit the deck with more speed than I had, and he's all the way across the circle, right? Now, all this in mind, it's like, okay, cool. I'm slightly defensive. That's what I'm thinking right now. I'm like, okay, I'm slightly defensive, but he's all the way across the circle. He still has ground to cover. So what should I do? Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to work offset in and redefine this fight. I'm already at the low end of rate band, so there's a couple of things I can do. And one of them that I thought of was going vertical, right? So I'm not necessarily going straight up, just a small high yo-yo, right? We're cashing in a little bit of airspeed for altitude, and that's going to do two things, right? One, I can now cash that altitude back in for airspeed later on if I want to, but it's also tightening down my circle as well. So let's look at what happens, right? So we're slightly losing. We're going to come up. We're going to tighten down our circle, and then we're going to come back down. Now you notice, right? Like our speed didn't go down that much. It was at like 337. Now it's at 325. We didn't spend that much airspeed. Like it isn't a huge, drastic, maneuver. Like we're shooting up like a rocket. It's just a little climb, a little bit of pull, and then come back down. Very, very gentle. But as we do it, look at that. In the last turn, he was way out there. He was way away. Like the range between us was huge. But now he's closer, right? And then we're gonna do it again.
You're closing the
point.
gap. Yeah.
And now I'm pulling in. They're pulling in.
Yep.
Right? They recognize that as I was coming down, I was pulling. They saw more of my nose, and now they just made my job way, way easier. Like if you look at our speed, we're at 317 knots. We cashed in a lot of energy to work this offset, right? In the hopes that on our next down where we're gonna get more energy and then maybe redefining the next circle, but they just pulled in. Like their nose is pointing right at us, right? They were across the circle, like out in front of us, and then they yanked in to try to meet our nose. So now we're at what? We're Minion. What are we at? Like, if we're nose to nose, we are
High aspect, high closure.
high aspect, high closure.
Hey,
Exactly.
you're playing chicken.
Exactly. And because I'm lower in speed, right? Like if we're high aspect, high closure, what's about to happen? What is that guy gonna do to me? Woman Slayer.
He's nose on. He's gonna go for shots, but if you survive that, you can you can redefine the fight one circle and kind of
Yeah,
make
exactly.
it
This
back to
guy's
neutral.
gonna overshoot. He's gonna overshoot me because we're high aspect, high closure, low range. And that's exactly what we do. As soon as we pass on this, we're redefining the fight. We're reversing our turn, adding a little bit of vertical in, right, to help tighten our circle just a little bit more. But now,
There we go.
now, right, this guy's sitting right down here, and he didn't come up with me, right? Like if I just reversed into him, I mean, you could have beat his circle, right? Because we're starting arguably slower. But we went into the vertical and they stayed down there, right? That's telling me, hey, they don't have they spent all their energy on that turn, right, to get their nose on, to meet my nose with theirs. They don't have enough to come up here. So at this point, all I got to do is roll it over and let gravity do the rest.
Pull it over and nice.
Like that's why it's so important to be able to recognize these cues, right? Even if they're just slight. Like if I had waited when we did that deck transition any longer, my opponent could have lined our circles, and now I'm on the deck, and I got to worry about getting up to optimal rate while this guy, is racing around the circle behind me and he's about to shoot me, right? It's important to recognize your cues early on so that way you can correct it or do something about it, because the longer you wait, the more that window to defend yourself closes, and it becomes harder and harder and harder. So if you're going to try to redefine, I'd argue, it's better to do it when this guy's all the way across the circle and slightly offensive than when he gets around to right here, and he's more or less sitting on your ass. Then it becomes hard for you. Make sense? All right, so there is a third fight in this, but okay, you know what? We'll go over it real quick. That fight's pretty.
Just
the
maybe just
third
lightning
fight's
round
pretty
this
fast.
one.
Yep. All right. So
Just explain it.
there we go. Not fast, but not slow. Into the merge. We're looking at our guy, paying attention to him. Okay, fairly neutral, kind of wide silhouette. Seeing a little bit of nose. We can see that he's going to try to pull us in. Lift vector under him, then over him. Oh, look at that. He just went over us, right? Now we're going to put our lift vector on, and we got all this energy, and we're going up. Let's tighten in. We got him out front. Lift vector into pure. Go into lead, right? Now, right here, a lot of people would get confused as to where lift vector's placed on here, right? Or where lift vector placement is after this. Because the guy's turning away from us, right? Whenever people are thinking of, pursuit curves, they're always thinking, oh, I'm always just pulling ahead of the guy, right? Like my nose is pulling out in front of his, right? And that's true. But when you're in a situation like this, it's like, oh, well, how do I pull the lead? Well, simple. You see where his nose is pointing, right? It's the same thing. I'm going to put my nose out in front of where he is going to go, right? If he's turning like this and he's going to end up down here, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put my lift vector down there where he will be, right? Or deep, opposite of deep lag, you're in deep lead, right? To keep that circle nice and tight. And that's what happens right here, right? We pass by the guy. Not on that turn, but on the next one, right? Like right here. Lift vector's pointed to where he is going to go, right? We're not necessarily pulling the nose, but our lift vector is set into lead. So we don't give him any turning room. We're really slow, but we're also really high. We're looking for him. We're looking for him. Okay, he's about to pass right underneath us. I think he's like right there. Yep. We're in lag now. We've already got him out front. It's like, okay, cool. Right here, we could try to pull in, but if we do that, we'll be high closure, high aspect, high closure. Could give him an overshoot opportunity. Okay, cool. Let's go to pure for now. We'll just pull into him until the next turn, right? We'll follow through into lag, so that way we keep a little bit of separation, and then maybe go into lead. Right? We're staggering our lift vector placement. Roll it over. Now, this is like even though this resulted in the kill, right? I'm going to tell you right now. It did. It was a quick snapshot. It wasn't intended to be a tracking shot, but stars align. This is why you take a snapshot anytime you can. You never know when it's going to just.
Sometimes it works out.
Perfect. Yeah, so it works out sometimes. Like if the guy's going to fly in front of you, just fucking pull the trigger. You got plenty of ammo, right? But even then, it's like, okay, cool. If I miss this shot, I'm just gonna follow through. I'm already super slow. Like I'm gonna yank everything I can to slow myself down and let gravity take me at that point.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, Eric. You
Very
know what?
much
Let's
so.
let's do a quick little
Oh,
check on learning here.
See you guys later.
All
My
right.
headset's about ready to die.
no worries. See
Oh,
you,
okay.
Jan.
So
All right,
let's
see
say
ya.
like we're here. We're like this guy's over here. Here's our plane. If we're in this cockpit and we're looking at this plane, right? And we're seeing the top, we're seeing mostly the tail, right? And our canopy, like he's sitting just a little bit above our canopy bow. What kind of cue is that?
We're attacking.
I mean, attacking. Yeah, but are we winning or are we losing?
We're winning.
Yeah, we're winning. It's a winning cue. What about right here? Like we're right here now. We're seeing like more of his burner. We're seeing a thinner silhouette. We're seeing his burner. Are we winning or are we losing?
We're winning.
Winning.
Yeah, we're winning. All right, how about now? Like we're all the way across our circle here, right? But I see a little bit more of his nose. I still see a wide silhouette, but I still see a little bit of his nose. Are we winning or are we losing?
We're losing on that
Slightly
one.
losing.
Yep, slightly losing, right? How about here? Right? Now, same exact cue. It's a little bit slimmer, right? Like our nose isn't pointing at him. His nose is pointing more at us. Are we winning or are we losing?
We're losing.
Yeah, slightly losing, right? How about here? Are we winning or are we losing?
Neutral?
Neutral. Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that's going to get you faster into working into your OODA loop, right? Your observe, orient, decide, and act is recognizing the cues of the fight. You need to recognize sooner rather than later if you're winning, if you're losing, or if you're neutral, right? Because that's going to dictate every single choice that you're going to make in every single turn. Like that second fight, in the first 3 turns, we went from losing to winning because of the choices we made. And that happened in like 4 to 5 seconds. Like it's very, very fast. Like an older aircraft, you'll have a little bit more time to process stuff, but you know, in planes like I'd name any SAC plane in test pilots, you've got maybe a split millisecond. You know. All right, sweet. If there's no questions or anything, we'll go ahead and we'll get the instance up. Yeah.